Thank you for joining me on Dishing with me, Heather D. And my brain was really going earlier today. And I was thinking of what would be a good way to embellish a deviled egg. And of course, I've seen the bacon stuffed deviled eggs and bacon and all that stuff. But I wanted to try something different. So I think this deviled egg recipe will be the perfect appetizer. Has a little heartiness to it, and I believe your family will love this. Perfect appetizer for the holiday season or Super Bowl time. But of course, we still got some months before Super Bowl. So check out this recipe and see if you would like to try this holiday season. Okay, first we're going to start out with our eggs. And this is cold water that I've placed my 10 eggs in. And I also sprinkled in some salt because that has the tendency to reduce the chances of my eggshells cracking as they boil. That kind of help constrict them. So I'm going to place this at a high boil, and I'm going to bring this to a high boil by covering up the pot. And once it comes to a high boil, I'm going to let them cool off in cold water and let them rest. Next, we're going to add our secret ingredient, which is our sausage. Now, I'm using an Eckrich skinless beef smoked sausage. You can add your Italian sweet sausage or whatever sausage that you like, that you would normally have at breakfast. And all I'm going to use is just one of those links instead of two, because we don't want it to be too meaty. It's all about just adding a little extra flavor and depth to our deviled eggs. So we're going to have some of our traditional ingredients as well as adding a little twist. We're going to add some sour cream, buttermilk ranch instead of using our traditional mayo. I'm adding my sweet relish. I'm going to also add some black pepper. I have turmeric, I have my paprika, and of course a little vegetable seasoning, as you can see here. Now, if you don't want to use vegetable seasoning, you can use your accent or seasoning salt. My eggs have come to a boil, and so I'm going to let them rest in the hot water, and then I will rinse them off to start the cooling process. They only boiled for about 10 minutes. Now, right here, I'm taking my link, and I'm going to cut this into fourths. Now, if you want, you can skip this method right here and put it into a processor if you are using a sausage link. That way you can cut on time. But I wanted to have better bite-sized pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut these into fourths, into really, really small pieces here. And you want to make sure you have a really good sharp knife when you're cutting your sausage. So as you see, I'm just halving them, and then I quarter them, and then they're going to be cut into really nice bite-sized pieces, in which they're going to be fitting perfect inside of the deviled eggs once you mix all the ingredients together. Okay, I have my sausages placed inside of my skillet here, and the leftover pieces, I'm going to just fry those up and save them for my son so he can make a sandwich. So we're going to go ahead and get those fully cooked, and then I drain some of the oil off of them as I spoon it out into a bowl, and I'm going to let these sausage pieces cool off as much as possible because we want them to be fully cools before we add them into our deviled egg mixture. Now, of course, when you have leftover sausage or bacon grease, whatever protein you fry, it is good to save those flavors and not oil and grease, because you know that makes perfect seasoning for any of your beans dishes that you plan to cook. So as you can see here, I have already started separating the egg yolks from the egg whites. And I'm going to go ahead and get a nice fork because we're going to mash this all together. But before we mash our ingredients together, I'm going to go ahead and add my buttermilk ranch. Now, these ingredients that I'm using are versatile. You don't necessarily have to use what I'm using, but this is just the flavors and seasoning, the flavors and the ingredients that I'm using for my deviled eggs. I'm going to also go ahead and use some sour cream, and I'm using about 1 good heaping tablespoon of the sour cream instead of our traditional mayonnaise like I mentioned earlier. And then I'm also going to add, of course, you gotta have some mustard. Mustard gives it that nice little bite and tang to the deviled egg dish. Something about it. Now you can use the brown mustard or you can use a Dijon mustard, but I like the traditional yellow. I'm also going to add my sweet relish. You can add as little or as much as you want. I kind of like my deviled eggs to have a little bit of the sweetness and see all my relish. Just adding a sprinkle of my vegetable seasoning, a few cracks of my black pepper. You can add this, of course, according to your taste buds. If you like a lot or a little bit, I like a little spice, so I'm adding some of the Siriacha sauce. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that it was going to come out that fast, so of course I had to clean it up. But just a little bit of a spice kick. I added some of the Siriacha sauce and cleaning up my mess at the same time. And then I'm going to also go ahead and I'm going to start mashing this up. Now, I was going to add the sausage, but then I realized my daughter is not a big fan of having sausage in her deviled eggs. And then on top of that, she's not big on meat that much. So I figured I'll go ahead and wait to the end. I added a little bit of my smoky paprika and my turmeric because I wanted some extra smoky flavor to this deviled eggs. Now, of course, I do have a recipe on the benefits of turmeric, and that smoky flavor of the turmeric is really good for the body. It's a perfect anti-inflammatory. And of course, these ingredients and the recipe will be listed in the bottom of the video in the description box. Now, as I mixed it, I realized I needed to add a little bit more. But of course, you make your deviled egg whether you like it having a thick texture or if you like yours a little more loose. So I like mine's a little looser than what this texture was. And that was when I went ahead and I added some more relish to it. And not too much, but just enough because you can see it was still a little clumpy. So I added my relish and I added a pinch more of the mustard and a little bit more of the buttermilk ranch. Because like I said, I wanted my filling for these deviled eggs to be just a little looser and a little creamier texture that I was looking for. And I'm adding a little of my ranch, and then I'm going to use my fork and just kind of bring this all together into a creamier texture so that I can spoon them in to the little white bowls that's going to hold this filling. Once I mixed it all together and got the consistency I want, I went ahead and spooned some of the filling inside, and this is before I added the sausage because like I said, my daughter's not big on meat too much. So I went ahead and I've separated her portion, and now I'm going to go ahead and add my sausage to the remaining portion of the deviled egg mixture. And this is going to be so good. You have to try this recipe. It gives it a really different texture and a different flavor versus just using your bacon like a lot of people do when they make some of their using their deviled egg recipes. I went ahead and just mixed this all together really well and wanted to make sure that all the sausage was going to be well incorporated, so that way when I get ready to place my sausage and deviled egg mixture into the little Ziploc bag, it'll be able to cover every portion of the deviled egg. And as you can see, it has been well mixed. So, of course, I had to taste it to make sure it had enough flavor and seasoning. You know what they call a little QC, quality control. And it was perfect. I didn't have to add anything else. So right here, I place the rest of my mixture inside of my Ziploc bag. And then I go ahead and just clip off the tip because this is going to help me just squeeze in the rest of it. Now, if you want, this is also a perfect time. You can let the egg yolks and your deviled egg mixture sit in the bag and rest in the refrigerator overnight. And then the next day, all you have to do is clip that tip and then scoop it or squeeze it into the little white parts of your white eggs. And then you have your perfect deviled eggs. Now, this step was just something quick that I like to do so you don't have to be spooning in every single part. I wanted to make sure that I got all of the filling out of the bag. I mean, I was really squeezing, and some of the deviled eggs has a little bit more filling than others. But hey, we cannot afford to let that filling go to waste. This is some good sausage-filled deviled eggs. I'll go ahead and sprinkle them with that little paprika to give it that final little smoky flavor. And then, of course, I'm going to give it another sprinkle of the turmeric, because the turmeric, like I said, going to give it that little yellow color and extra smoky flavor, just like the sausage. And then you just seal everything up and it is ready to be served. Or you can place them in the fridge and let them chill for about an hour or two before you serve them to your guests or to your family. Aren't they pretty? Look at them. We have our part with sausage and part without. Now it's time to taste. Okay, so these are my deviled eggs, and I had to come to the dining room table because I wanted you guys to see how delicious these are. These sausage ones are good. There's some extra hands that's coming. Okay. And you see this one? He giving it a thumbs up with the sausage. And the other one giving it a thumbs up. If you want to try this recipe, please click that like, share, and subscribe button. He is on these mugs. These are quite tasty. That sausage give it a really good hearty flavor. And another person. All right. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you liked it, please click that like button. Please click subscribe and share. Comment down below. Because fingers are just grabbing this. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a great evening. God bless. Peace.